Spoiled. I know Nutwit has a point. I've become a creature of habit, spoiled after a stretch of being my own dog. For a long time I was Bob the Beast, cunning and streetwise. As a stray I lived off leftovers at the mall while Snickers dined in her fancy pants kibble. Man, how I loved that cotton candy stuck to the floor, the unexpected UFOs, the ends of ketchup covered hot dogs scattered under the bleachers like, I don't know, big toes or something. Ivan offered to share his gorilla food with me, and Stella and Ruby were always ready to pass along a carrot or an apple, but I refused. I needed to stay in shape, stay tough, stay true to my wild nature. Okay, so maybe every now and then I'd sneak a banana chunk from Ivan's breakfast, but then things changed. I've become civilized, domesticated, a pet. Don't get me wrong, there are definitely some perks. Julia, who's an artist, painted my name on a food bowl. She gave me this wonderfully mushy blanket, and the kind where you can bed boogie forever till it's squished to perfection, and you can curl up just so. I love that blanket, but I simply cannot sleep without Not Tag, Ivan's raggedy old toy gorilla. Of course, just when I get my blanket and Not Tag imprinted with the right amount of Erdobob, Julia's mom does the unthinkable, puts them in the washing machine, and removes every last bit of me. There are other indignities I tolerate: the daily walk on a tug-of-war string after going stringless my whole life, the attempts to train me, like that'll ever happen, the kisses and cuddling. Well, the cuddling's okay, I suppose. But the kissing, I just don't get it. If you want to kiss your dog, why not give him a big old lick on the face and be done with it? Anyways, so what if I've gotten a little spoiled, a tad soft around the edges? There's a difference between being soft and being afraid, being a coward. Another confession. Too bad I know the truth. I am both. Cricket bully. When Julia returns from walking her charges, I race over and give her a good old Bob style hello. Lots of yipping and twirling, followed by some attempts to jump into her arms. Humans love that stuff. Julia looks at me sternly and says, Robert, down. I leap some more because I'm determined to convince her I'm incorrigible, untrainable. It's part of my charm, my bobbliness. Down, she says again. From her coat pocket she pulls out her little metal clicker along with some treats. I hate that clicker. It's meant to help train me, but it's like a cricket bully. Here's the theory. I do something right, Julia clicks, gives me a treat. The clicks tell me when I'm behaving, and the treats reinforce it. If that happens enough, before your very eyes, I'm supposed to transform into a good dog. Well, it ain't easy. Down, Bob. Julia tries again. I want a treat, but not enough to cave, so I opt for a play bow, a compromise. Julia sighs. You are definitely a challenging student. To my annoyance, she puts the treat back in her pocket. I think Julia may be on to me. Trust. A while ago, Julia got it into her head that I needed to improve my manners. We went to a dog training class. I wasn't really into the whole sit and stay and do the tango stuff. The worst command of all, the truly inexcusable, only a human could come up with it order: leave it. Leave it means walk on by, Bob. Sure, that's a piece of bacon just inches from your drooling pie hole, but do me a favor and just pretend it's not there, okay? Not okay. Where I come from, you never pass up a free meal. UFO drops the carpet, it's mine, and I'll be chowing it down before you can say, where the heck is my meatball? Within minutes, I was accused of being an undermotivated student, which is totally unfair. I am highly motivated. Just show me some cheese, please. Anyways, I may or may not have been a little unruly. Class clown stuff. Tail spinning, a little random peeing, some zoomies just for the show. Class, can you see that crazy dashing around he's doing? Said the teacher, pointing at me with an accusing finger. Well, that's called a FRAP. Frantic Random Activity Period. She pulled Julia aside. He's a smart dog, she said, but he's messing with you. Which was true, but I hated getting caught in the act. I thought I was more subtle. Bob needs to know who's boss, said the teacher. He needs to see you as a pack leader. Give him some time. I see this a lot with former strays. Takes them a while to trust people. Like forever in my case. As we left the class early, I yelled, So long, suckers, to my classmates. Couldn't help just rubbing it in a little. My car thing. I suppose the real reason for the training stuff isn't my bad manners, although they leave a bit to be desired. It's my car thing. I've always had a hang up about cars and trucks. Also riding lawnmowers, go-karts, anything with four wheels, an engine, and a driver. Don't like 'em, don't want to ride in 'em, don't want anything to do with 'em. Those co-pilot dogs with their heads hanging out the window, flying their jewel flags? Boneheads. First of all, it ain't safe. And second of all, bad stuff can happen after you climb into a car. Take it from me. When Julia and George and Sarah realized I have transportation issues, they tried to lure me into the back seat of their car with treats. But you'd be surprised how stubborn I can be. I yelped so loud the neighbors came running out to see what was happening to the poor little doggie. Score one for the poor little doggie. Click. That's when they started clicker training me. Click, here's a treat. Come closer to the car, Bob. Click, here's a treat. Watch while I open the car door, Bob. Click, here's a treat. Come right up to the seat, Bob. Click, here's a treat. Come on in, Bob. Bob? Bob? Where are you, Bob? Yeah, it was a lot like that. It was like that a lot. Options. Still haven't been in a car, or a truck, or a tractor for that matter. When I had to go to the Rhymes with pet threat, Julia and her parents walked me there. They say elephants have long memories. Well, so do dogs, people. It's not like I'm afraid. I'm just exercising my options. Full wag. Are you ready to head over to the park? George asks as he passes through the living room. He's carrying two flashlights and a roll of masking tape. Yep, Julia says, and I do a head tilt to show I'm intrigued by the conversation. The place where Ivan and Ruby live is called Wild World Zoological Park and Sanctuary, but everyone just calls it the park. George works at the park as head groundskeeper, which means I've got some sway, and everyone who's employed there loves Julia. Give me a minute, I just need to grab my coat, says George. Straight home after that, though, Julia, says Sarah, just in case the weather gets worse. One minute the weatherman's saying we're going to have a little shower, next minute it's the storm of the century. Julia scratches my head. I thought Hurricane Gus wasn't coming till tomorrow. Sometimes they change course, said Sarah. They can be unpredictable. You know, George says with a wink, in the old days they only named hurricanes after women. Julia groans. That is so sexist. It's not just the wind that I'm worried about on this one, George says. It's the storm surge that could be a problem. Flooding. Julia tries to make me wear her mom's latest creation, a knitted dog sweater with "security" written on it, which I suppose is an ironic reference to my petite size. I politely decline. All right, you win, Julia sighs. Ready for your walk, Bob? At the mention of the word walk, I go all crazy mutt, so it's clear I'm on board with the idea. Humans love it when we get silly. I think they're so weighed down by people problems that sometimes they need to be reminded what happy looks like. Julia attaches my string. I try for a little tug of war, but she refuses to buy it. Let's go see Ivan and Ruby, she says. Just hearing those names sends my tail into full wag. Good words, bad words. I've never met a dog who didn't get a big old grin on his kisser when walk slipped into a conversation. Dogs understand more than you might think. The Nature Channel says we're about as smart as the average human toddler. 2-year-olds, my fuzzy rump, were a million times brainier than some babbling rugrat. There was a dog on Batman's best friend show who was supposedly understood like 1,000 human words. Border Collie, I think. Those guys need to switch to decaf. The narrator was gushing about this wonder dog, and I'm like, well, duh, Brainiac, of course we understand people. Not everything, mind you, and some of us are more attentive than others. Depends a lot on just how interesting your humans happen to be. Certain words will really cause our ears to perk up. The classics: treat, walk, frisbee, bacon. And also don't forget the swear words: vet, bath, fireworks, vacuum cleaner. We always hear those. Clock versus moon. Julia and I wait by the front door while George says goodbye to Sarah. I think maybe the hardest thing for me about being domesticated, a pet, if you insist, is that I can't control my own schedule. If I had my way, I'd hang out with Ivan and Ruby all day, every day. Unfortunately, humans love clocks. Dogs, we use the sky to tell time, like any sensible creature. Sky says it's dawn, time to eat. It's noon, time to eat. It's afternoon, time to eat. It's dusk, time to eat. It's midnight, time to eat. Point is, it's always time to eat. Dogs have a thing for the moon too, like wolves and coyotes and our other relatives. No calendars for us. Moon looks like a claw. Moon looks like half a pancake. Moon looks like a tennis ball. Moon looks like a claw. Again, a chunk of time had passed. But humans know that's not enough. It's not a chunk, it's a month. It's not just dawn, it's 6:32 a.m. on a Thursday, and boy oh boy, we better hurry up and go to school or the office or change the baby, but who gives a woof about feeding the poor, starving, sad-eyed, grumbly, tummied dog? After a spell, I got used to the comings and goings of Julia and her mom and dad, but it keeps changing. Julia leaves early for school and is gone most of the day. She returns home excited and energized, good sense mostly. but every now and then she comes back smelling a little like me after a visit to the dog trainer, battle weary and ready to crawl under the covers. Sarah, who was pretty sick for a while, is feeling fine again, thank goodness, but she went back to work and she's away all day too. And George, who has a job at Ivan's place, works 5, sometimes 6 days a week. That means it's just me and the guinea pigs, and a lot of the time. I have a doggy door and an outside run, but it's not the same as touring the neighborhood with your person. Being without a potential audience is like talking to yourself. Sometimes I'm the teensiest bit jealous of Ivan and Ruby. They always have someone around, which is crazy, I know. I'm free and they're not. But there it is. Told you, I'm not a saint.